Hello, I'm STEMilyK, your hostess to the world of STEM, and today I am here with a green engineer. So if you want to start, introduce who you are and how you got interested in STEM.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Shraddha. I am a green engineer, but I go by Greengineer. I actually created that word for myself because I wanted to show people how cool it was to be an engineer, but also incorporate the creative, multifaceted side of ourselves. Because we're not just a one-faceted person, we're a multifaceted person. And so as a Greengineer, I've been that for many, many years, and I have worked in, energy systems, building energy efficient systems, and now I'm actually working in agriculture. So I'm building out some really cool projects and experiments that deal with that. And I got into STEM, and I'm an engineer, so I got into that actually when I was a little girl. So my mom, I called her my mathematical wizard because she loves mathematics, and so she taught me my timetables when I was 3 years old. So I was spewing out numbers and patterns and finding all sorts of cool little observations in them. And then my dad is an engineer, so when I was 5, I started taking things apart, and I love taking stuff apart. Sometimes I put it back together, sometimes I don't. And that really, ignited that passion to be an engineer and to build things for a purpose. So I ended up loving mathematics and loving engineering, loving creative stuff, and got my degree in electrical engineering with a focus on machine intelligence. So doing all the cool stuff that I can possibly do. Yeah.
So could you elaborate a little on your educational background in STEM and how this led you to the careers that you've had in your life?
Sure. So as I mentioned, my degree, I got a bachelor's in electrical engineering, and then I focused on machine intelligence. And so that is a combination of artificial intelligence and machine learning. And the reason I picked that was because, as I mentioned, as a kid, I loved math and I loved finding patterns in the numbers. I mean, when you think about it, it's literally just 10 numbers, 0 through 9. And we have an infinite number of things that we've created from that. And mathematics is the basis of everything. So you look at physics, you look at engineering, it's all the basis. It's built off of these numbers. So I wanted to dive into the pattern finding, collecting all of this data and finding patterns. So whether it's recognizing your license plate when you're driving into your private home or into a place that maybe you're not supposed to, a place you're supposed to be, it recognizes you. Or if you're not supposed to be there, it rejects you based on that license plate recognition system. And all that technology in the back is all engineering and machine learning. So I was really fascinated by that. And the application, when you think about electrical engineering, when you do that, you can practically do any kind of a job. You can learn any kind of a job. And as an engineer, any kind of an engineer, it is so critical to have this technical background because every single thing that we do, it revolves around technology. It revolves around engineering or mathematics or biology or physics. I mean, all of this is in everything we do. So I wanted to be a part of that. Now, that's not to say that I'm not creative or that we don't have creative aspects. I love writing. I love drawing. I love building things and like knitting. And I don't really enjoy cooking, but my family tells me, just imagine it's chemistry and you're making some cool experiments. So I'm trying to do that again. But yeah, it's been a huge passion and I love it. That's how I got involved.
So could you elaborate more on your current career and what that really entails?
Yeah, so for the last 9 years, I've been working in the corporate world, so at a big Silicon Valley company, and I had been doing all sorts of projects, everything from energy efficiency and building out an entire lab so we could do testing for energy, for products to get them energy efficient and qualified to be sold in different countries. And then I was doing things like accessibility, so making sure that our products were accessible for anybody, because so often we build a product that is for the mass people, like for the people that you usually see and think of, but you don't really think of other types of users. I mean, and that could even be when, a group of men designed for women or a group of women designed for men or, just all of these different things. So I was working on that. I had worked on doing a lot of demos and building out demos, whether it was in security or data center or any of those kinds of things. But now I am in like my absolute dream job because I have been given this amazing opportunity to build whatever I want to build. And my passion it's in everything. but I love farming. So my parents live in Southern California, and so we bought this apartment. I'm going to tell you a quick story. So my parents live in Southern California, and we bought this house about 15 years ago, right when I graduated from high school. And even though the backyard is not that big, my dad converted that backyard into a farm. So like the entire perimeter of it is farm. And so we have everything from sugar canes, like thousands of sugar canes at any given time, to papaya or like mangoes. We had those grow a couple times, to all these different fruits and vegetables that you would never imagine to grow in someone's backyard. And so for 15 years, I had been following my dad with all of his farming stuff, and I would help him. And just last week during Thanksgiving, we cut off sugarcane, and we had a sugarcane juice party because my dad has this juicer that I actually helped him fix because the motor was broken. So farming has been an amazing, amazing thing in my mind. And I love IoT, which is the Internet of Things. How can you make things smarter, and how do you collect that data and then make better decisions off of that? So when I looked at farming, I actually found a letter that I had written to my dad in 2004 when I was studying to be an engineer. And I had like drawn out all of these IoT things. So, you know, we can place sensors here, we can place for the water and for the water time schedule and so on, we can do it like this. So I've always had a passion for it. And so in my current role, I'm focusing on agriculture and farming because it's a project I want to do. So really excited about that.
Yeah. So what are some of the most common aspects of technology and engineering skills that you use in your job every day?
Mm-hmm. So for this current role, it's going to be everything, because I'm going to look at the chemistry of the soil, or I'm going to look at the way the plants and the seeds interact with the air or with water. I'm going to be looking at what is the best method to lay out the most amount of seeds, or have the best crop for a certain area. So you're working with mathematics in there. I'm going to be looking at things like supply chain. I'm going to be looking at how can you transport one thing from the farm all the way to the table, and how can you ensure that it is by someone that you trust and that it's ethical. So it's going to be every. That's why I think farming is so key, because it is every kind of an engineer. It isn't every kind of a person. I mean, even fashion, right? So earlier we were talking, and I was telling you about combining 3D printing with shoes. And so fashion, clothes, where do they come from? They come from cotton, or they come from these materials that you grow. So where do your materials come from? Where do your clothes come from? Your shoes come from? Whatever you have, where does it come from? So it's going to be every aspect of engineering. That's why, or every aspect of everything that you could be excited about into farming. So that's what I'm really excited about. Mm-hmm.
So what other aspects of possibly English or history play into your job every day that's not just STEM, but combining STEM with other things?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the way that we talk about these things, I mean, we can make amazing things, but if there isn't a way that you can help other people understand, nobody's going to want to be a part of it. So definitely being able to communicate. So when you think about being an engineer, it's not about not talking. I mean, you can do that. If you don't want to communicate with people, you can sit and you can code. You can go to a coffee shop. You can code. You can go to the beach. You can code. You can do whatever you want. But communicating is really important. The way that you write, the way that you design these kinds of products and things that you're coming out with, that's really key. What other kinds of things have I done? I mean, even if you're knitting, right? Like you take that piece of cotton and knit it into some sort of a fashionable piece of clothing. I mean, that's another aspect of it. So skills of communication, skills of creativity. You want to make sure that you embrace the creative aspect of you. Engineering is not just a square. You can do anything that you want with it. You can build anything. So a lot of great things.
So what are some other ways that you've gotten involved with the issue of women in STEM outside of your job?
Yeah, so I have, in about the last 9 or 10 years, I have actually worked with at least 10,000 kids. So anywhere from a couple hours of showing them how cool STEM is, or just, showing them what the future of their life can be, to actually having multiple sessions where I lead them through building something. So at a museum that we have here, I actually took a bunch of old equipment that we were going to throw away. And I took it over to them, and I took screwdrivers and hammers and all of this stuff, and I said, go ahead, break it. Go figure it out. Go undo it and learn from it. Because when you take things apart, which is what I did when I was, 5 years old, and even beyond that, you get to see every aspect of it. I mean, like our laptop. When was the last time you took apart a laptop, or you took apart a table, or you took apart anything, or had the permission to do that? So I literally would give them permission to break that, because all of those things would be going into recycling. And so that's another aspect of Greengineer. So I love recycling. I think sometimes I could do a much better job than I do right now. But the idea of taking things apart and seeing where they come from and asking questions, and what is this circuit board, and why were the buttons designed this way, and what is this material, and you have so many questions, and that's key. Having questions, trying to understand how something became how it is, whether it's a good thing, whether it's something you want to change. And that's where innovation comes from too. If you want to build something and you see like something's not working the way that you'd want it to, you'd build it so it would be better for you. So those are some of the things I do. I go and another one I had the girls build build automata, which they're these really cool machines that you can use that have levers and gears and cams and all these things. And basically I would give them a box, have them build the inner parts of it, but the top would be a story of whatever they would want. So it could even be like a dancing ballerina, or it could be Jack in the Box that pops up, but the gears underneath are what's controlling it, and they wouldn't even realize they were doing some mechanical work because they were thinking about the end result of what they were going to build. So there are just so many different things that you can do, and that I have done to get kids and especially girls excited about it. And I cannot wait to continue doing more of it.
Yeah. So, what is some advice you have for girls who might not necessarily think STEM is for them?
I think STEM is for everyone in the sense of it relates to everybody. I think that first of all, I think they should try it out. That's the whole point. It's not really about saying, even though I am an advocate of STEM, it's not about saying that STEM is the only career that you can be in, and that's the only thing you should do, and you shouldn't think about being in entertainment. You shouldn't think about playing sports or any of that stuff. No, I just want people to see that this is something that you can do. It's not the idea that you can't do this, it's too hard, I'm not smart enough. Give it a try. Go find people that can support you. Go ask questions. This is for everybody. It has no bias towards anybody. No bias. So I think, first of all, I had already said a couple things, but go give it a try. Be curious about it. It's okay if you don't like it. You don't have to like it, but believe me, you do like it. If you like something, if you have hobbies, if you do stuff, all of that has STEM related in it. So why not learn STEM so that you can actually build the things that you want to do? And if you want to help, if you want to do some social good, or if you want to build a cool app, if you want to go into fashion, entertainment, all of that is going to need STEM. So I would definitely recommend having a little bit of it. It's going to make you so much more excited about the work that you're doing.
And what is something that's currently being innovated in the STEM fields that you're excited about?
Mm-hmm. Oh boy, oh my goodness. I am excited. I'm actually really excited about blockchain. So I'm not sure if you've heard about blockchain, but people say that it is the next thing after the internet, like the huge wave of the internet, which happened in like the 90s and the early 2000s and all of that, and up till now. Blockchain is more of like this trust-based kind of internet. So whereas right now you look at all of these companies, they own your data, they own your stuff, and you have all of these people that you have to go through to make a transaction or whatever. Blockchain enables you to be able to do those things. You own the rights of all the data that you have and all the stuff that you do, and it becomes a more trustworthy place. I had mentioned, that like I love drawing, I love math, I write a lot of poems, I put them on my social media. But the thing is, I don't really own that. If Facebook or Twitter or anybody decided to shut down, all my data would disappear with them. So what I'm excited about is this blockchain aspect where you can own your stuff, you can put it online, and it becomes your thing. I'm excited about that. There's just too much stuff to be excited about. What else am I excited about? Yeah, I'm excited about that. It gets everything.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to do an interview with us. And again, I'm STEMilyK, your hostess to the world of STEM. Bye!